Now, is it me or is Delena the absolute worst? And before you come for me in the comments, hear me out, because I was one of you. I began watching this show back around college, and one of my boys came up to me and was like, yo, you have to watch Vampire Diaries, bro. It's extremely violent, there's vampires, werewolves. Trust me, you're gonna love it. And I was like, hold on, Vampire Diaries, isn't that like Gossip Girls, but with vampires? And he goes, nah, in this show, people would die. Trust me, bro, it's definitely for the guys as well. So I watched it, and I did watch Gossip Girls too. But I watched the show, and wow, season 1 was amazing. It was really good. And the character that grabbed me the most was Damon, because he brought that violent nature to the show, and he made the whole thing feel dark, like anything could happen at any second. And for a while, I was on board with Delena, like everybody else. But then I sat down and began looking at the whole thing, and I went, hold on. Their relationship is toxic as hell. And why didn't I see that when I was a teenager? Now let's start with the obvious one, because everybody skips past this one, right? In season 1, Elena is 17 years old. She's a junior in high school and she just lost her parents in a car crash. So now she's living with her aunt and she's trying to keep her life from falling apart. So while she's recovering from loss, into her life walks 2 vampire brothers.
Pardon me. Is this the men's room?
Stefan is about 162 years old and Damon is about 177, right? And the show knows this is extremely weird, so it comes up with an excuse. And the excuse is basically that vampires stop aging when they turn, and when they do so happen to turn, their emotions get turned up to 11. So because Stefan turned when he was 17 years old, that means he's basically 17 years old forever, right? I mean, come on. Because if you think about it, this guy has lived through wars. Whole countries rose and fell when he was alive. So with all of this life experience, somehow Stefan was able to relate to a 17-year-old girl in high school? What? And the thing is, in real life, this is how a conversation between the both of them would go. Stefan would be like, so, you should have seen how crazy things were during the Civil War. I mean, it was a mess. And Elena would probably go, well, you know, I've got a history test on Thursday, so that's all I'm thinking about right now. Right, in real life, these 2 people would have no way to relate to each other because the age gap is too big. I'm sorry. And look, I do get it, it's a vampire show, and we all signed up for the age gaps, but here's the part that makes things worse. Elena wasn't just young when Stefan and Damon found her, but she was also broken and going through grief, right? She was 17 years old and freshly traumatized. And that's the moment when Stefan and Damon came into her life? I mean, what happened to letting somebody heal and letting them get over their grief first before saying, hey, I love you, can we be together? It just doesn't make sense. Now, before Elena happened, let's talk about who Damon was in season 1, right? And I'm not talking about the bad boy with a heart of gold version the fandom fell in love with. Let's talk about who he really was in season 1. In the second episode of season 1, Damon meets Caroline. That's Elena's best friend, by the way, and we all know that. He charms her, he sleeps with her, and by the end of the night, he bites her neck and feeds off of her, right? And then in the very next episode, he compels her, so now she has no idea that she's being used. So now Damon is essentially taking advantage of Caroline in the most brutal way because she has no agency now. And that's because Damon erased her ability to say no to him. So Damon kept Caroline around as a blood bank and somebody to have intimate relations with. I don't know about you guys, but that sounds very predatory to me. And the show never really reckons with this. Damon essentially gets away with being a predator. And when you actually bring this up to real Damon fans, they go, oh no, Damon was broken, he was going through this and that, but I'm sorry. There is no excuse for being a predator. So keep Caroline in your mind because this is the guy. This is the guy Elena is about to spend 4 seasons falling in love with. And if we look at this from Elena's perspective, Caroline was your best friend. How do you fall in love with a guy who did that to your best friend? It just doesn't make sense. And then there's the Jeremy thing. In season 2, Catherine, the vampire that both brothers were in love with like 150 years ago, Catherine tells Damon, look, I never loved you. It was always Stefan, right? So now Damon is heartbroken and what does he do? He goes to Elena's house and he kisses her, right? Okay, he doesn't really kiss her, but he tries to. So she pulls away and tells him, look, I care about you, but it's always Stefan. Stefan. And the thing is, what Elena said to him is word for word what Catherine just said to him. So he got 2 rejections back to back by a woman with the same face. So now he's hurt, he's drunk, He's spiraling out of control. And that's when Jeremy walks in, and because Damon is heartbroken, he snaps Jeremy's neck and ends his life right there, right? And the crazy thing is, he didn't even know about the magic ring. Jeremy only survived because he just so happened to be wearing a ring that kept him safe from supernatural activities. Which means when Damon ended Jeremy's life, he was really intending to do so. And if you think about it, look, Elena just lost her family. She just lost her mother and father. And now Damon almost took the life of her only living family. And this is the guy Elena ends up falling in love with? Come on. Because in real life, people would never forgive you for killing their dog, let alone a family member. Now let's move on to the sire bond, because this is the one that broke me, right? I don't think people realize how crazy this is, because at the end of season 3, Elena becomes a vampire, and in season 4, we find out that she's got this thing called the sire bond to Damon. So what is a sire bond? It's a supernatural link that makes a vampire basically wired to please and obey whoever turned them. And this sire bond only happens in one special case, and that's when the new vampire already had strong human feelings, like actual love for the person whose blood turned them. So Elena, on some level, is compelled to please Damon. And here's what makes it worse. The episode where they discover the sire bond is the exact same episode where Elena and Damon sleep together. Right? They hook up in the exact same episode where it is revealed that Elena might not fully be in control of her feelings for Damon. Like, how do you write that and not see the problem? So in a way, even though Damon didn't really know it at the time, he was taking advantage of Elena. Right? It seems like consent was out the window. Now let's talk about Stefan, because poor Stefan, man. He watched the love of his life, a girl he wanted to be with forever. He watched her slowly fall in love with his own brother, his own blood. And the show tries to make this romantic, like, oh, at least Elena brings out Damon's humanity. But think about what that means, right? Elena dated Stefan for 4 seasons. It might have been 3. And then she dumps him and starts dating his brother right away, right? And just to make matters worse, while she's still with Damon, while Damon and Elena are having vampire intimacy, she is still jealous of the fact that Stefan tries to move on, right? What kind of person does that? Because if my brother dated my girl while I was still in love with her, I'm probably never going to speak to any of them again. I'm sorry. Goodbye, and I hope to never see you again. But on this show, Stefan's like, oh, as long as she's happy, come on, bro. Just man up. And the worst part about all of this is Elena was supposed to be the moral one. The whole point of Elena's character is that she's innocent, she tries to do the right thing, and she's a good person. But then she goes and falls in love with Damon, the guy who kills people for fun, the guy who assaulted her best friend, the guy who murdered her brother, and now suddenly she's defending all of it. Is it the sire bond? And she's only defending all of it because, according to her, Damon has changed. But here's the thing nobody really talks about. Damon only changed because Elena was there. Right? Whenever Damon and Elena break up, because we have to have a breakup moment every season, Damon goes right back to being Damon. So it seems like Damon is not really a good person. He's just playing a role because he wants to be with Elena. And here's the thing that really gets me, and this applies to both Stefan and Damon. Elena looks exactly like Catherine, right? They have the same face, same body, same everything. So was Damon ever really in love with Elena at all? Or was he just finally getting the girl who rejected him 150 years ago? I mean, come on, that's like dating somebody because they remind you of your ex. It's a bit weird. Now I know people are gonna hate me for saying this, but the only healthy choice for Elena was Matt, right? Now Matt was boring, he was always whining. Every time we saw Matt, he looked like he was going to cry. But Matt did have some charm to him. You gotta admit that at least, right? I mean, look at this. Now that's a badass. Right, Matt was loyal, he was human, which is the best component of it all. And he would have given Elena a normal life, but no. Elena had to find herself and be free, so she ended up with literal serial killers. 2 of them. And she dated them back to back. Now I can hear the Delena fans typing, oh no, they had chemistry. And yeah, I'll give you that. You know, Elena and Damon did have chemistry, but here's the thing nobody wants to admit. Elena chose the wrong brother. Stefan let Elena be human. He never compelled her. He didn't feed on her friends. He didn't try to end the life of her brother when she said no. He simply just let Elena be Elena. And I know Stefan wasn't perfect either. He was a ripper, and he ended the lives of probably hundreds of people. But Stefan came across as an addict. He was always trying to do the right thing, but he had problems. And compared to Damon, he was the boring brother, right? But here's the thing, a good relationship is sometimes supposed to be boring. It's supposed to be safe, warm, and quiet, and it's not supposed to feel like you're on a roller coaster, right? The person who makes you feel that way is usually the guy that's very dangerous. And when you're 17 years old, it's okay to be attracted to that. But when you get older, you have to realize that person will never provide any stability for your life. It's gonna be constant chaos and constant ups and downs. Also, when Elena and Stefan broke up, didn't the show get worse? Didn't something feel off a bit when Delena happened? Or maybe it's just me. Maybe that's what I thought. But the show completely went off the rails when Stefan and Elena broke up. Now, I'm on Reddit a lot, and I am in the Vampire Diaries sub, and here's a very common comment that I see all the time in the sub. The ladies usually go, "When I was a teenager, I really loved Elena, but now that I'm grown up, now that I know what real love is, you start to realize that Delena was toxic as hell." Right, because let's put this into perspective one more time. We have a vampire who's 170 years old, dating a 17-year-old. He compelled and fed on her best friend. He unalived her brother. He tried to compel Elena to kiss him. He slept with her while she was under a sire bond. He went after his own brother's girl. He also only changed because she was watching, and the show calls this the greatest love story of the century. Right? I mean, come on. If this love story took place in real life, it would be a horror story. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyway, that's it for the video. What's the single worst thing Delena ever did? And did the whole sire bond make the whole relationship fake from the jump? Let me know down below, and I'll see you in the next video.